Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Thursday, June 1st, around 5 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. We have Tropical Depression 2, which has formed in the Gulf of Mexico, 4 p.m. Thursday, and it is tracking towards western Cuba, but could bring some lingering rain to the region. The big story, rounds of severe thunderstorms to end May with a bang across the central U.S. Keep calm, it's boom time. Take a look at the top wind gusts yesterday. Colorado, Wyoming, and Oklahoma, 60 to 70 miles per hour. And the severe weather threat continues today with hail, isolated tornadoes, flooding, rainfall, damaging wind gusts 60 to 7 miles per hour. With AccuWeather local storm max picking it up at 90. So heads up north of Lubbock, Dodge City, and south of San Angelo. You're in the moderate risk zone. And that is going to move a little bit east, but not much. Friday and Friday night hail, flooding, rain in the same region, damaging wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. And the severe threat moves north to Amarillo. Here's the drought monitor, and that's good news. They need that rain up there in North Texas. But take a look at Nebraska. Nebraska is the last state with exceptional drought, over 50% of it. The drought is gone in the West, and there is silence from the mainstream media. Can you believe that? I can. The National Hurricane Center upgrades chances of development for Invest 91L. And yeah, they were right. It is now a tropical depression and Tropical Depression 2 that is headed to Cuba by Sunday. Severe storms hit New Mexico and bring damage to some, as the Squad Democrat demands that the U.S. stop drilling or face severe weather events. Now, how are these people that inept that they think that drilling for oil changes the weather? Oh my goodness. The first day of Atlantic hurricane season, watching the Gulf of Mexico. Yes, today marks the first day of the Atlantic hurricane season, and what better to kick it off than Tropical Depression 2. The hurricane season will run through November 30th. Thunderstorm activity has increased associated with the storm over the northeast Gulf of Mexico, and a short-lived tropical depression or storm will form, which it has. Regardless of development, it will move south. Locally heavy rainfall could occur over portions of the Florida Peninsula through the weekend. So heads up. And there you can see that tropical depression there, and we'll just move it through here. Here is Thursday into Friday. It's going to be lingering around Florida, the Panhandle, all the way south, so we could have rain bands coming in through the entire western margin of the state of Florida. It's going to be moving south and pulling away, but the rain will stay through Saturday for most of Florida and into Sunday. That is some tropical moisture there. The snow is going to continue to fall through June. A big blast here in the first week for us, but snow continues to show up on the map through mid-June. Here we are over at the smoke map, which is not looking good for Saskatchewan. We had over 50 fires pop up in Saskatchewan in just the last 48 hours. Hours of powers. A lot of people complaining about the Nova Scotia fire. It is big, and the worst part is the prevailing winds blowing that smoke on the coast, which is where all the people are. So hopefully we can get some rain and put that fire out in Nova Scotia. Let's take a look at the total accumulated precipitation, and it's looking very good for Nova Scotia. Starting now, starting Saturday and Sunday, that fire should be out with 3 to 4 inches of rain coming to the region. So good news for Nova Scotia. Shanghai records its highest May temperature in more than 100 years. That is a sign of the grand solar minimum as Australians shiver through the coldest May ever as temperatures plunge across the country. Now, impressive Greenland surface mass balance gains, as well as bone-chilling cold that grips northern India. We just talked about Australia's cold. We're actually setting records today with the ice gain during melt season. We're entering melt season that begins mid-June, but we are already seeing mass record gains on Iceland. What's going on? Well, The surface mass budget has been rising since sometime around 2012. At 2013, it's taken a rapid rise up, and that is not being shown on the news. Total mass budget increased by 200 gigatons over that decade and is increasing ever more. Seismic update. No quakes of note. Some minor rumbler out here in Colorado. We have some activity in Hawaii, and the most recent quake here, 4.6 in the Philippines, was so deep that no one felt it. Worldwide volcano news update. We've got Santa Huito, Popo, Semaru, Ibu, Villarrica. Ibu puffing to 7,000 feet, as well as Sabancaya to 25,000. Popo still active at 19,000 feet during this uptick in paroxysm period. We've got some friends in Mexico City saying that their windows are constantly being covered in ash. Santa Huito to 15,000, Sabancaya to 21, and good Liwotolo eruption continues with lava flows. And good news, Topol volcano in New Zealand, activity has returned to background levels, which is good news after this uptick in seismicity was, well, getting people nervous, to say the least. Space weather news update. We had a moderate M flare 24 hours ago, but nothing else happening on the sun, as we do have some new active regions turning in, and that's where that M flare came from, probably this zone here. We do have some new sunspots turning in, but the activity overall is pretty low level at sea, 3.3. There is a low-level geomagnetic storm forecast for tomorrow at reaching G1 geomagnetic storm, potentially higher depending on the situation, but will be short-lived. And that is all thanks to this coronal hole, number 8. Looking great. Now, the SpaceX Dragon capsule carrying the private AX-2 astronauts that we showed the liftoff for splashed down on Florida the other day, and everyone was fine. Let's take a look at that. You can see the capsule.
800.
Copy, 800.
So at this point in time, we can see we have 4 healthy main parachutes have deployed for the Axiom 2 crew. In a matter of minutes, they have gone from 17,500 miles per hour down to roughly now about 70 miles per hour.
600.
Copy,
Even less
600.
than that, when the main parachutes were deployed, they were going about 119 miles per hour. And by the time that they actually land in the water, it's about 10 miles per hour, thereabouts.
$400.
Copy, 400 meters.
And they clearly made it. Here, we just sped it up a little here to watch the splashdown. And there it comes. There you can see the water. And boom.
AX2 is back on Earth.
And there you can see the recovery of the crew. Pretty spectacular. There's just the nose of the entire rocket as it comes back to Earth. Now, NASA team studying unidentified phenomenon shared a preliminary update. I'm sure a lot of you watched the presser yesterday. What can we glean from it? Well, according to the team, they roughly get anywhere from 50 to 100 new reports of UFOs, according to Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. He is of the Department of Defense and at the public meeting. Kirkpatrick said that the number had jumped to over 800 cases of UAPs from when he testified in Congress that there were 650 cases in April because he got FAA's data integrated in it finally. Now, the data have been collected across 27 years, and Kirkpatrick stressed that the numbers will continue to change weekly. Now, here's the interesting thing. Out of 800 cases of unidentified aerial phenomenon, 2 to 5 of them, according to Kirkpatrick, are defined as anomalous, meaning nothing that we can explain. So that is quite a few, up to 50 cases of actual unidentified flying objects in space. Now, Japan will try to beam solar power from space by 2025. The country has made a breakthrough in space-based solar energy back in 2015, and now they're trying to capitalize on it. Beaming energy from space. Did you know that CO2 levels were at 400 or greater parts per million back in the 1940s? Well, the mainstream media is hiding it from you. And Wikipedia deletes a list of scientists who disagree with the scientific consensus of global warming. That's just blatant censorship. Now, a quick story here on the impossible rock found atop a volcano in the middle of an ocean plate. It shouldn't be there, and it is maybe some critical evidence on the expanding Earth hypothesis. More to come. Read the article. The links will be below. John Kerry says we need to starve out the entire U.S. population to transform to net zero emissions by 2030. This guy has a very large head. Now, if you've got a normal size head and you grow your own food and you've heard of the three sisters, well, we're going to add a fourth sister to the mix. And no one is really talking about it. Well, if you didn't know, Native Americans used to grow the three sisters for practical reasons. The combination of squash, corn, and beans allows you the trifecta of food in a small area. The corn and the squash go in first, and then the beans get planted a few weeks later once the corn is established. The squash protects the moisture in the ground. The beans have support on the poles of the corn, and the corn is, well, delicious. Now, who is the fourth sister? Well, bergamot or bee balm. You can also plant just plain old sunflower. Now, what these plants do is, well, they attract pollinators for your corn and other plants. The sister supports the beans and lures the birds from the corn with her seeds. So that's just a fantastic opportunity there. Here's another opportunity. The great Dr. Willie Soon sent me over his newest video from Sarah Science, which is his group of scientists. The great snow cover debate. Are we seeing more snow or less? Please subscribe to the channel. Let's get this up to 1,000. Leave a comment. Tell them Diamond sent everyone over here, and share this video. Oh yeah, subscribe to Sarah Science and give them a thumbs up. Groundbreaking Israeli cancer treatment has 90% success rate. This is good news. An experimental treatment developed at Israel's Hadassah University Medical Center has a 90% success rate at bringing patients with multiple myeloma into remission. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Please share this video as we are shadow banned and we need your help to grow. Become a Patreon, support the work we do. We're about to head out to Idaho to check out the geoglyphs. More on that. Be safe. We love you. And that is a boom. Hit that thumbs up.